Tom, KJ Jefferson in November has 921 passing yards, 6 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and has over 45 rushes for 135 yards. He really took on a different level starting in November. Not to say he didn't have good games prior to that, but does he kind of remind you the next step he's taken, similar to Brandon Allen in 2015? I felt like Brandon was a completely different quarterback after that Auburn quadruple overtime game. Do you see some similarities between him and KJ and just their progression throughout a season?
Yeah, sure. I think there's some comparisons to those two. That Brandon, he got it, and he'd already been a starter for a while, but it all fell together in place for him. And I think with KJ, I mean, you think back, his last interception was a heave into the end zone. I mean, that's like a 50-50 deal. It's not like somebody, confused him or broke into a route or something. He threw a ball in the end zone at Ole Miss. Otherwise, his only other picks this year were in the opener against Rice when he forced the ball in on the sideline when they were struggling, and then the underthrow to Keytron Jackson against Texas. That's it. So when you look at the dual threat capability he's brought, the running, how it opened up things against Missouri early on, and he was playing hurt, and just his completion percentage and his efficiency, he has had a much better year than I think we anticipated. We felt like he would be good, but to have a 21-3 touchdown to interception ratio and basically be the guy who calmed the offense down and pulled it through in some really tough situations. It's just been a remarkable, fun season for KJ Jefferson.
You mentioned playing hurt a little bit. Both him and Traylon Burks went into the medical tent on Friday, and some Arkansas fans were quaking a little scared, because when you see those two go in the tent, it's a little scary. What have you thought about those two in particular, the toughness that they've displayed this season, and how that's kind of spread around to the football team, that these guys seem to just play through anything?
Everything that Sam Pittman and his coaching staff could have asked for. They've poured themselves into the players, and when your leaders are doing things like this, it gives your program a mark. It gives your program a standard, and if other guys on the team aren't meeting it, then they're going to face criticism from within. And coaches cannot ask for more than that. We've seen programs where players aren't buying in for each other and things like that. And so for your leaders to be doing that, I mean, KJ looked like, I think he said it was his low back. Looks like he landed on his hip really hard on that first run, and he just stayed in the game throughout. And we know that Traylon Burks is injured. I suspect that he's going to play in the bowl game. He's got some records he can get. I think he can wind up maybe 4th all-time in Arkansas in receiving yards, for a season. And just we've never seen another like Traylon Burks. There's been some great receivers come through, but I don't think any of them. And if he played back in the era when you played 4 years, more likely, he would probably hold every record in the Arkansas books.
Yeah. So it's going to be a month or maybe a few days more than that before Arkansas plays its next game. But the next 5 to 10 days is going to be very busy for Sam Pittman. A couple of things I would think would be on his plate: re-recruiting some players you want to come back, and then also monitoring what's going on in the college football world and your coaches, because, Tom, we're seeing it's very difficult to keep a staff intact from year to year. What do you think perhaps may unfold over the next week or so regarding players and coaches?
Yeah, I mean, he knows that some guys are going to be in the portal. He knows that, it's tougher than ever right now.
Right.
With coaching movement, portal guys coming in and going out. You got to have a staff of guys keeping track of people who are going into the portal, and knowing what your depth chart looks like at every position and who you expect to have back. And it's a big balancing act. And that's why these staffs have got to stay on it this time of year in particular. But, I think we all understand, and playing off the KJ Jefferson improvement, I heard some criticism of some of the Kendall Briles play calling and things. Some of their trickery stuff, the double passes and stuff, didn't work. But it's part of being aggressive. and they scheme it up in practice, and they feel good enough to use it in games, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But you cannot fault Kendall Briles for the work he's done to help KJ improve his mechanics. Heard some guys talking in the last week or so about look back to the Rice game and look now, and his mechanics are so much more improved. And that's the work of Kendall Briles. And so he has basically, in 2 years, coached the 2 highest completion percentage quarterbacks in Arkansas history. That's no mean feat when you consider you're taking over a new program that had been down for so long. Yeah. We all know that Barry Odom has drawn accolades for 2 years for just some of the scheming he's done. So it wouldn't be a shocker at all. The word is that Barry Odom is not leaving unless it's for a head coaching position. And when the dominoes start falling, maybe some of the bigger jobs get taken, and then some other positions open up. So it wouldn't be a shocker if either one of those 2 left, but the continuity, if they're able to keep those 2, there's going to be a lot of personnel losses for next year. But if they can keep their 2 coordinators, and by the way, Scott Fountain and the special teams have done great from about halfway to the end of the season. Just a really big turnaround for special teams. But there are so many pieces that are going to have to be put in place and shuffled during the course of this winter.
Tom, we've been talking about bowl projections and where teams may slot in, and Arkansas's record, now leading the pack of the teams at 3rd in the West. Kind of what are your thoughts on bowl selection and where Arkansas may slot in come Sunday?
I think they're going to have a strong shot at a Florida Bowl. They feel like the Gator Bowl is probably their lowest spot, which means the Outback would be in play. And I know for sure that they're going to be in the talks for the Citrus Bowl, along with A&M and Kentucky. And, they beat A&M head-to-head. They're tied with them. What does that mean? It's all about, selling tickets, what fan base is going to travel the best. A&M was up so high last year. Are their fans going to go out this bowl season and attend the game? When I look at Kentucky, very good program. They get wins against South Carolina and Vanderbilt that are, tantamount to a non-conference win in Vanderbilt's case. So they had a much easier schedule than Arkansas. In fact, they played Mississippi State and lost. So I don't know. Kentucky has one more win, but if you ask me, Arkansas navigated a tougher schedule, and their 8-4 is a better record, is a better strength of schedule, and it looks better to me than Kentucky's 8-3.
Tom Murphy.
So I believe they're headed for a Florida Bowl.
Tom Murphy here with us on the Morning Rush. Tom, we had some great rivalry games on Saturday, and I'm assuming you actually got a chance to watch it since the Arkansas games were on Friday. And I wonder what you make of not only how Bedlam played out, but Lincoln Riley taking the USC job yesterday and just how that played out. Is there any truth, in your opinion, that Lincoln wanted no part of the Southeastern Conference?
I don't know enough of the internal dynamics at Oklahoma to say that he didn't want to play in the SEC. Maybe he felt like the opportunity to take over a dynastic-type program like USC and be a real difference maker and get into the playoff, the easier route to the playoff was very appealing to him. I mean, they'd been recruiting California very well, had a bunch of strong commitments from California, and maybe those guys now follow him to USC, and I think he sees a way to build a machine-like program if they recruit well and use his system out there to be able to get to the playoff year after year. But I cannot say why he chose to make that decision. I thought rivalry weekend was just fantastic. A lot of great games. Auburn, Alabama. I mean, Auburn made Alabama look like no one else has done that in Nick Saban's tenure at Alabama. It made them look so bad, snapping balls on the ground, stopping fourth down plays, but they didn't quite extinguish the lights. It was like the Terminator. They almost had him all the way down, but the Terminator came back, and Alabama made them pay, and that was fantastic watching, and there was a lot of great games.
Yes, you bring up the Alabama game. I'd ask you this. C.J. Stroud and Ohio State, they lose in Ann Arbor to Michigan this weekend. Bryce Young, they come roaring back after being down 10-0. Tom, did that touchdown pass on 3rd and 10 late in the fourth quarter, did that win Bryce Young the Heisman Trophy in a couple weeks?
You know, the odds makers say yes, but I tell you, this is going to be a really tight vote, and I think you're going to see a lot of regional preferences come out. So a lot of the Midwest guys, you'll see Stroud votes. I think you'll see votes for the Pitt quarterback. I think you'll see. I think you'll see in the Southeast there'll be some split up ballots. So there's a lot of candidates in my view. I don't even know what I'm going to do yet. I'm going to have to look over everybody's resumes. Bryce Young has certainly been fantastic. And I would say he's the favorite, but I wouldn't say that clinched the Heisman for him.
Would a Will Anderson or a Jordan Davis, Georgia's player or Alabama's linebacker, get on your ballot this year?
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, that's the thing. Defensive players will peel off some votes. I guarantee you there'll be some folks in the Southeast that'll put Jordan. There'll be some people voting Jordan Davis first, and Will Anderson has just been a wrecking ball.
Yeah.
Almost every game. So he'll peel off votes from his own teammate. So I think it's going to be I don't think there's going to be a runaway. I think there's going to be a tight vote near the top, and this is going to be a fun one.
That's how it's going to play out. Well, Tom, we'll see what happens not only in the SEC championship, but other games this week that can ultimately decide who's going to win the Heisman Trophy, and we'll look ahead to some of those games on Thursday.
Outstanding, man. I look forward to talking to you guys then.
All right, Tom Murphy with us here, Hot Take Monday.
It's Thanksgiving, and we all know what that means, football. And nothing goes better with football than turkey and betting. BetOnline has you covered for all the holiday season. More props, odds, and lines than ever before. BetOnline remains your #1 spot for all sports action this Thanksgiving. Head to our new updated desktop or mobile website to sign up today and receive your 50% welcome bonus with the promo code BELIEVE to receive your bonus. That's BLEAV to receive your bonus. And it's not just football. BetOnline has pro and college hoops, NHL, boxing, UFC, even your favorite Vegas casino games. Don't wait to take advantage of all these amazing offers available for the 2021 season. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite sports.